Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Terra Nova and looked at the strange planet below them. The year was 2387, and Earth had been part of the big space family called the Galactic Federation for 50 years now. But other alien races still thought humans were too new and too wild to trust completely. Jake did not mind this because he knew humans were good at solving problems that others could not handle. The distress signal had been weak and broken when they first heard it 3 days ago. It came from Kepler 442b, a planet so far away that no ships ever went there. The signal repeated the same message over and over in the old Federation emergency code. Someone or something was asking for help, and Jake could not ignore that call. Dr. Lisa Chang walked onto the bridge carrying her tablet computer. She was the ship's expert on alien life and had been studying the readings from the planet's surface. Her dark hair was tied back and she looked worried about something important. "Captain, I am getting some very strange energy readings from underground," Lisa said as she showed Jake her tablet. "The patterns do not match anything in our databases. It looks like there might be a large facility buried beneath the surface." Jake studied the colorful lines and numbers on the screen. After 20 years in space, he had learned to trust Lisa's judgment about these things. If she said something was wrong, then something was definitely wrong. "Any signs of life down there?" Jake asked while looking at the planet spinning slowly below them. "That is the strange part," Lisa replied. "I am detecting multiple life signs, but they are very weak. Almost like the beings are sleeping or maybe unconscious. The readings show at least 30 different life forms from various worlds." Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. 30 different alien species in one place usually meant only one thing. Someone had been collecting them, and that was never good news. The Federation had strict laws against taking beings from their home worlds without permission. "Prepare an away team," Jake ordered. "Full protective gear and weapons ready. We go down in 1 hour." The surface of Kepler 442b was covered in red dust and strange purple rocks. The air was thin but breathable for humans and most Federation species. Jake led his team of 6 people toward the coordinates where the signal was strongest. They found a metal door built into the side of a hill. The door was painted with symbols that Jake did not recognize. Engineer Carlos Rodriguez ran his scanner over the door. He was a good man who always took care of his 8-year-old daughter Emma, who lived on the ship with him. His wife had died in an accident 2 years ago, and Emma was the most important thing in his life now. "The door's locked, but I can get us inside," Carlos said. "The power source is still working after all these years. Whoever built this place wanted it to last a long time." The door opened with a loud grinding sound that echoed through the empty halls inside. Emergency lights came on automatically as the team walked deeper into the facility. The walls were made of some kind of white metal that stayed clean even after years of being empty. Their footsteps made soft sounds on the smooth floor. Lisa held her scanner in front of her as they walked. The life signs were getting stronger, which meant they were moving in the right direction. Jake noticed that the hallways had no windows and felt like they were built more like a prison than a research station. "Captain, you need to see this," called Security Officer Ben Cooper from up ahead. He was standing in front of a large room filled with empty cages. Each cage was big enough to hold a person and had strange wires and tubes running through the bars. Jake walked into the room and felt sick at what he saw. The cages were arranged in neat rows like a factory for keeping living things. Each one had a small bed, a water container, and several machines that Jake did not want to think about too much. "These look like holding cells," Lisa said quietly. "But look at all this equipment. Someone was doing experiments on whoever they kept here. They found computers and research notes written in several different alien languages." Lisa worked on translating the files while the rest of the team searched the other rooms. What they found made everyone feel angry and scared. The facility had been used to study how different alien species thought and felt. The researchers had been trying to change the way their prisoners' minds worked. They wanted to make the aliens forget their homes and families and turn them into soldiers who would follow any order. "Captain, the life signs are coming from levels below us," Lisa reported. "There are stairs leading down at the end of this hallway. The lower levels were darker and colder than the rooms above." Jake could hear strange sounds coming from behind metal doors. Some sounded like crying and others sounded like angry growling. His team moved carefully with their weapons ready. They found the prison area where dozens of creatures from different worlds were being kept. Most of them looked sick and scared. When the aliens saw humans approaching, some tried to hide, while others showed their teeth and claws in warning. "My God," Lisa whispered as she looked at all the suffering beings. "How long have they been trapped down here?" One cage held a creature that looked somewhat like a large wolf but walked on two legs like a person. His fur was gray and black, and his eyes were bright blue like ice. Unlike the other prisoners, this one did not try to hide when he saw the humans. Instead, he watched them carefully like he was trying to decide if they were friends or enemies. The wolf creature was bigger and stronger looking than the others. Jake could see intelligence in those blue eyes that reminded him of looking at another person. But there was also pain and anger that made Jake want to help somehow. "Lisa, start working on getting these cages open," Jake ordered. "Carlos, see if you can get the main power systems working. We are taking all of these beings back to our ship." As his team worked to free the prisoners, Jake kept looking at the wolf creature who continued to watch everything they did. Something about this being was different from the others. Jake had a feeling that this rescue mission was going to change everything for his crew, and maybe for the entire galaxy. The wolf creature sat in the corner of the medical bay on Terra Nova and would not let anyone come near him. Dr. Lisa Chang had tried everything she could think of to help him feel safe, but nothing worked. Every time she or any other crew member approached, the being would show his teeth and make low, threatening sounds deep in his throat. Lisa had named him Rex because he carried himself like a king even though he was clearly hurt and scared. The other rescued aliens were slowly getting better with food and medical care, but Rex seemed to get more angry and suspicious with each passing day. "He was definitely given some kind of enhancement treatments," Lisa explained to Captain Jake Morrison as they watched Rex through the clear wall of his room. "The brain scans show neural pathways that do not exist in normal members of his species. Someone made him smarter but also caused serious psychological damage." Jake studied the proud creature who sat with his back against the wall so he could see everything around him. Rex's blue eyes missed nothing and tracked every movement the humans made. There was intelligence there that Jake found both impressive and sad. "What do we know about his species?" Jake asked. "They are called Kinesians and they come from a planet about 200 light-years from here," Lisa replied while reading from her tablet. "They are naturally pack hunters with strong family bonds, very loyal to their own kind and usually peaceful unless threatened. But Rex shows none of these normal social behaviors." Rex had been alone in his cage for what the computer record showed was almost 3 years. The alien researchers had been testing different ways to break down his natural instincts and rebuild him into something else. They wanted to see if they could make a Kinesian forget about loyalty and family bonds. The experiments had failed to completely change Rex, but they had left him unable to trust anyone. He ate the food that Lisa left for him, but only after she was far away. He would not let the medical scanners near him, and attacked any equipment that made noise. 8-year-old Emma Rodriguez pressed her face against the window of the observation deck and watched Rex with great interest. Her father Carlos had brought her to see the rescued aliens during his off-duty time, but he made sure to keep her away from the medical bay where the dangerous ones were kept. "Why does that one look so sad, Daddy?" Emma asked while pointing at Rex. Carlos looked at his daughter's concerned face and felt proud of her kind heart. Ever since her mother died, Emma had become very sensitive to others who were hurting. She seemed to understand pain in a way that surprised adults. "He has been hurt very badly by some bad people," Carlos explained. "Dr. Chang is trying to help him feel better, but it takes time." "Can I go talk to him?" Emma asked with the simple logic that only children possess. "No, sweetheart," Carlos said firmly. "He is too dangerous right now. He might hurt you without meaning to because he does not understand that we want to help." Emma nodded but continued to watch Rex through the window. She noticed that he never slept and always kept his eyes on the door like he was expecting something terrible to happen. Her young heart felt sorry for the lonely creature. That night, Emma lay in her bed thinking about Rex. She remembered how scared she had been after her mother died and how it took a long time before she could trust that good things could still happen. Maybe Rex felt the same way and just needed someone to be patient with him. The next morning, Emma asked her father many questions about the rescued aliens during breakfast. She wanted to know what they ate and where they came from and if they had families who missed them. Carlos answered what he could but noticed that most of her questions were about Rex. Dr. Chang says he was alone for a very long time, Carlos told his daughter. His people are supposed to live in groups like big families, but the bad aliens kept him by himself to make him forget how to be with others. Emma thought about this while she ate her cereal. She could not imagine being alone, for 3 whole years without anyone to talk to or play with. No wonder Rex did not trust the humans who were trying to help him. Later that day, Carlos was working in the engine room when he got an emergency call from the medical bay. Emma was missing, and no one had seen her for over an hour. Security teams started searching the ship while Carlos ran through the hallways calling his daughter's name. Dr. Lisa Chang was checking on Rex when she heard a soft voice coming from his room. She looked through the window and gasped at what she saw. Emma was sitting on the floor just inside the door with a picture book in her lap. Rex was pressed against the far wall, but he was not growling or showing his teeth. Once upon a time, there was a brave wolf who lived in a beautiful forest. Emma read aloud from her book. He had many friends, and they all took care of each other like a big happy family. Rex tilted his head slightly as he listened to the small human's voice. Emma was not looking at him directly, which made him feel less threatened. She just sat there reading her story like she was alone in her own room. But one day, some bad people came and took the wolf away from his forest and his friends. Emma continued. They put him in a cage and were very mean to him for a long time. The wolf became very sad and forgot how to be happy. Lisa watched in amazement as Rex slowly moved, closer to Emma. His movements were careful and suspicious, but he was definitely interested in the story. The little girl seemed completely unafraid of the large alien who could easily hurt her. Carlos arrived at the medical bay out of breath and ready to rescue his daughter, but Lisa held up her hand to stop him from rushing into the room. Through the window, they could see something incredible happening. Rex had moved to within 6 feet of Emma and was sitting down like he was listening to story time. His blue eyes were focused on the book in her hands and his ears were pointed forward with interest. For the first time since his rescue, Rex looked curious instead of angry. The wolf thought he would never be happy again, Emma read. But then, he met some new friends who were very patient and kind. They did not try to force him to trust them. They just showed him every day that they cared about him. Rex made a soft sound that was not quite a growl, but not quite anything else either. Emma looked up at him for the first time and smiled. She was not afraid of his sharp teeth or powerful claws. She just saw someone who needed a friend. Slowly, the wolf remembered how good it felt to have people who cared about him, Emma finished, and he lived happily ever after with his new family. Rex stared at Emma for a long moment. Then he lay down on the floor with his head on his paws, keeping his eyes on the little girl, but no longer looking ready to fight. Something important had just changed, and everyone who watched felt it happen. Emma started visiting Rex every day after her morning lessons were finished. She would slip quietly into the medical bay when Dr. Lisa Chang was busy with other patients and sit on the floor near Rex's room. Each time she brought a different book and read stories about friendship, adventure, and hope. Rex began to expect these visits and would position himself near the door when he heard Emma's footsteps in the hallway. He never tried to get closer to her, but he stopped pressing himself against the far wall. Instead, he would lie down in the middle of the room and listen to every word she read. Dr. Chang noticed the change in Rex's behavior immediately. He was eating more food and sleeping for a few hours each night instead of staying awake constantly. His blood pressure had dropped to normal levels and he no longer attacked the medical equipment when she needed to check on him. "It is remarkable," Lisa told Captain Jake Morrison during their weekly briefing. "Emma has accomplished more in 5 days than all of our medical protocols combined. Rex is actually responding to treatment now." Jake watched the security footage of Emma's latest visit. She was drawing pictures with colorful pencils while Rex watched from across the room. The big Keynesian seemed fascinated by the way she moved the pencils across the paper to create images. "Is it safe to let her continue?" Jake asked. "I trust your judgment, but that creature could kill her in seconds if something goes wrong." Rex has had dozens of opportunities to hurt Emma, and he has never even moved toward her aggressively, Lisa replied. I think his protective instincts are actually starting to return. Watch how he positions himself between Emma and the door whenever adults enter the room. Jake studied the footage more carefully and saw that Lisa was right. Rex had begun acting like he was guarding Emma instead of just tolerating her presence. When Carlos came to collect his daughter, Rex would stand up and watch him carefully until Emma left safely. The breakthrough came during Emma's second week of visits. She was reading a story about a lost puppy when Rex made a sound that was clearly an attempt to speak. It was rough and unclear, but it sounded almost like he was trying to say, friend. Emma looked up from her book with excitement in her eyes. Did you just try to talk to me? She asked. Rex tilted his head and made the sound again. This time it was a little clearer and definitely sounded like he was copying a word from her story. Emma clapped her hands together and smiled so brightly that Rex's ears perked up with interest. Friend? Emma said slowly and clearly. Can you say, friend? Rex's mouth moved awkwardly as he tried to form the human word with his different vocal cords. After several attempts, he managed to produce something that sounded like friend. Emma cheered like he had just performed the most amazing trick in the universe. Dr. Chang watched this interaction through the security monitors and called Captain Morrison immediately. They both arrived at the medical bay just as Emma was teaching Rex to say hello. The little girl would say the word and then wait patiently while Rex practiced making the same sounds. Hello, Rex, Emma said. Hello, Emma, Rex replied in his rough but understandable voice. The adults stared in amazement. According to the files from the alien facility, Rex's species was not supposed to be able to learn human speech. Their vocal cords and brain structure were too different. But the neural enhancements he had received were allowing him to do things that should have been impossible. Over the following days, Rex's vocabulary grew rapidly. He learned words for emotions like happy, sad, scared, and angry. Emma taught him the names of colors and objects. Most importantly, she taught him words that helped him express what he was feeling. Hurt, Rex said one day while pointing to his chest. Hurt here. Inside. Emma nodded with understanding that seemed far beyond her 8 years. I know, she said softly. I hurt inside too when my mommy died. But talking about it helps make the hurt smaller. Rex looked at this small human, who somehow understood his pain and felt something he had not experienced in years. The alien researchers had tried to destroy his ability to form emotional connections, but Emma's innocent kindness was proving stronger than their cruel science. Bad ones take Rex from home, he told Emma during one of their conversations. Make Rex forget pack, forget family. Make Rex angry all time. But you are not angry now, Emma pointed out. You're talking to me and that makes you happy. Rex considered this and realized she was right. When he was with Emma, the constant rage that had filled his mind for 3 years seemed to fade away. He still felt sad about what had been done to him, but the fury that made him want to attack everything was gone. Emma helped Rex remember, he said. Remember how feel good. The little girl reached into her backpack and pulled out a drawing she had made. It showed a large gray wolf and a small human girl sitting together under a tree. Above them, she had written, Best Friends in purple crayon. This is for you, Emma said as she held up the picture. So you can remember that you are not alone anymore. Rex looked at the drawing for a long time. The alien researchers had shown him pictures during their experiments, but those had been images of violence and control. Emma's picture showed kindness and friendship. It showed hope. Rex, keep always, he said as he carefully took the paper in his clawed hands. Emma, good friend, best friend. Captain Morrison and Dr. Chang continued to monitor these interactions. With growing amazement, Rex was not just learning to speak, he was learning to trust again. His pack instincts were returning, but instead of bonding with other Kinesians, he was forming a protective attachment to Emma. The implications are incredible, Lisa told Jake. If Emma can help Rex recover from psychological trauma this severe, Imagine what this could mean for all the other victims we rescued. Jake nodded but felt worried about one thing. Rex was becoming emotionally dependent on Emma, and that could be dangerous if anything ever threatened her. The captain had seen the way Rex watched the little girl and recognized the fierce loyalty that was growing stronger each day. What none of them realized yet was that this bond between a hurt alien and a compassionate child was about to become the key to saving thousands of other prisoners across the galaxy. Rex's recovery was just the beginning of something much larger and more important than anyone could have imagined. The alien researchers who had tortured Rex had tried to break his spirit and turn him into a weapon. Instead, they had accidentally created something far more powerful. They had created a being with enhanced intelligence who could still remember what love felt like, thanks to one little girl who believed that everyone deserved a friend. Rex's language skills improved so quickly that Dr. Lisa Chang could barely keep up with documenting his progress. Within 3 weeks of meeting Emma, he was speaking in complete sentences and asking complex questions about the world around him. His enhanced brain was absorbing information like a sponge that had been dry for years. "Why Emma people help Rex?" he asked during one of their daily conversations. "Other big people hurt Rex before. Why Emma people different?" Emma thought about this question seriously while she colored in her drawing book. She had learned that Rex needed honest answers, not the simple explanations that adults sometimes gave children. "Because helping people who are hurt is what good people do," she said. "My daddy taught me that when someone is sad or scared, you try to make them feel better. That is what friends do for each other." Rex absorbed this concept and compared it to his memories of life before the experiments. His people, the Canisians, had lived by similar rules. Pack members protected each other and shared everything they had. The alien researchers had tried to make him forget these values, but Emma was helping him remember. "Rex people same," he told Emma. "Before bad ones take Rex, Canisian help other Canisian always. Pack is family. Family protect." As Rex's communication skills grew stronger, he began to share more details about his captivity and the horrible things that had been done to him. Dr. Chang recorded these sessions because they contained important information about the alien facility and its purpose. "Bad ones call themselves hegemony," Rex explained during one of these interviews. "They believe some people better than other people. They take strong ones from different worlds and try to make slaves." Captain Jake Morrison listened to these recordings with growing concern. The name hegemony was not in any Federation databases, which meant this was either a new organization or one that had been operating in secret. Either possibility was dangerous. "They have many places like where you found Rex," the Canisian continued. "Rex here guards talk about other facilities. They say thousands of beings locked up, all being changed into soldiers." Lisa felt sick as she imagined thousands of creatures suffering the same torture that Rex had endured. But she also felt hope because Rex was proof that the psychological damage could be healed with the right approach. "Rex, do you remember anything about how they chose which beings to take?" Lisa asked. Rex's ears flattened against his head as he recalled painful memories. "They want strong ones, smart ones. They take leaders from each world. They take parents away from children, children away from parents. Break family bonds so beings have nothing left but anger." Emma had been listening, quietly, but when Rex mentioned children being taken from their parents, she reached over and gently touched his paw. "I am sorry that happened to you," she said, "but you have a new family now. You have me and Daddy and Dr. Chang and Captain Morrison." Rex looked down at the small hand resting on his paw and felt something remarkable happen in his mind. The neural pathways that the alien researchers had tried to destroy suddenly flared back to life. For the first time in 3 years, Rex felt the warm sensation of pack bond forming with another being. "Emma is Rex pack now," he said, with wonder in his voice. "Rex protect Emma always." Dr. Chang recognized the significance of what had just happened. Rex's species relied on psychic connections between pack members for emotional stability and communication. The experiments had severed these connections, leaving him isolated and traumatized. But Emma's friendship had somehow restored his ability to form these bonds. "Rex, can you feel connections to other Canisians?" Lisa asked excitedly. Are there others of your people who might still be alive? Rex closed his eyes and concentrated. His enhanced neural structure allowed him to reach out with his mind further than any normal Keynesian could. For several minutes he sat completely still while Emma waited patiently beside him. Suddenly Rex's eyes snapped open and he gasped. Yes, he whispered. Rex feel others. Many others. They hurt. They scared. But they alive. How many? Captain, Morrison asked as he entered the room. Dozens, Rex replied. Maybe hundreds. All in different places, all alone like Rex was. They cannot reach each other because bad ones break connections. But Rex can feel them because Emma make Rex strong again. Emma beamed with pride at being able to help her friend. But she also felt sad thinking about all the other beings who were suffering alone. Can we help them too? She asked. Rex looked at the little girl who had saved his spirit and made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. Rex, try to reach them, he said. But need Emma help. Need Emma. Kindness to make connections strong. What happened next amazed everyone in the room. Rex placed his paw over Emma's hand and closed his eyes. Emma felt a warm tingling sensation that did not hurt, but felt different from anything she had experienced before. Through their physical contact, Rex was somehow sharing his psychic abilities with her. Across the galaxy, in dozens of hidden facilities, Keynesian prisoners who had been broken and alone for years suddenly felt something they thought was lost forever. They felt the touch of pack bond, carried through space by the pure emotional connection between a traumatized alien and a compassionate child. In a facility orbiting a distant star, a female Keynesian named Luna had been curled in the corner of her cage for 2 years, refusing to eat or interact with her captors. When Rex's psychic call reached her, strengthened by Emma's innocent love, Luna lifted her head for the first time in months. On a prison planet in the Outer Rim, an elderly Keynesian called Storm felt the connection and remembered his own children who had been taken from him. The memory brought pain, but also hope that someone was still fighting to stay connected. In facility after facility, broken Keynesians began to stir. They could not see Rex or Emma, but they could feel the strength of their bond. They could feel proof that love and friendship were more powerful than the cruel science that had tried to destroy their spirits. It working, Rex said with tears in his blue eyes. They feel Emma kindness. They remember what pack means. They remember they not alone. Dr. Chang monitored Rex's brain activity during this psychic outreach and saw neural patterns that should have been impossible. The combination of his artificial enhancements and Emma's natural empathy was creating a psychic beacon that could reach across incredible distances. How long can you maintain this connection, she asked. As long as Emma want to help, Rex replied. Emma make Rex strong. Together we make all Keynesians strong. Emma squeezed Rex's paw tighter. I want to help all of them, she said with determination. No one should have to be alone and scared. Captain Morrison realized that they had stumbled onto something much bigger than a simple rescue mission. If Rex could maintain psychic contact with Keynesian prisoners across the galaxy, they might be able to coordinate a massive escape attempt. But they would need more information about the hegemony and their facilities. Rex, can you learn anything about where these other Keynesians are being held? Jake asked. Rex concentrated again, using Emma's emotional support to strengthen his reach. Yes, he said after several minutes. Rex can see through their eyes sometimes. Rex can learn about guards, about security, about other prisoners who not Keynesian. The plan that began to form in Captain Morrison's mind was dangerous and probably impossible. But looking at the bond between Rex and Emma, he realized that some things were worth any risk. The hegemony had made a crucial mistake when they enhanced Rex's abilities. They had created a weapon, but not the kind they intended. They had created hope. The information that Rex gathered through his psychic connections painted a terrifying picture of the hegemony's operations. Over the next 2 weeks, he was able to contact Keynesian prisoners in 47 different facilities scattered across the galaxy. Each contact revealed more about the massive scope of the conspiracy. They not just take Keynesians, Rex explained during a briefing with Captain Morrison and the senior staff. They take strong beings from many worlds. Reptilian, warriors from Draco's Prime, telepathic healers from the Vegan colonies, even some humans from frontier worlds. Dr. Lisa Chung had been studying the data that Rex provided, and the implications made her stomach feel sick. If they have been operating for years and we never knew about it, how many beings could they have captured? She asked. Rex count at least 10,000 in facilities Rex can reach, came the sobering answer. But Rex think there are many more places Rex cannot feel. 8-year-old Emma sat quietly in her father's lap during these meetings, but Captain Morrison had learned that her presence was essential. Without her emotional support, Rex could not maintain the psychic connections that were providing them with intelligence about the enemy. What is their ultimate goal? Morrison asked. Why take so many prisoners? Rex's blue eyes grew dark with anger as he remembered conversations he had overheard during his captivity. Hegemony leaders believe galaxies should be ruled by strongest races only. They think beings like Kinesians and humans are inferior and should serve as slaves or soldiers. But they are part of the Federation, Lieutenant Ben Cooper pointed out. How can they operate against Federation law? Hegemony hide inside Federation, Rex explained. They have agents in many governments, many fleets. They pretend to follow Federation rules while building secret army. When ready, they plan to take control of all colonies and make other races into servants. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. A conspiracy this large would take decades to organize and would require infiltration at the highest levels of multiple governments. If Rex was right, the Federation was already partially under hegemony control. Need to contact Federation Command immediately, Morrison decided. This information is too important to handle alone. But when they tried to send encrypted messages to Earth and other Federation worlds, something strange happened. Their communications were either blocked or returned with responses that did not sound right. It became clear that the hegemony had agents monitoring and controlling Federation communication networks. We are on our own, Morrison realized. If we trust the wrong person with this information, the hegemony will know that Rex is free and can contact other prisoners. Emma had been listening to all this adult talk with growing worry. She understood that bad people had hurt Rex and many others, and that her new friend was the only hope for saving them. But she also understood that this made Rex and her family targets. Will the bad people come after us? She asked her father. Carlos Rodriguez held his daughter closer and wished he could tell her that everything would be safe, but Emma deserved honesty, and the truth was that they were all in great danger now. They might try, he admitted. But Captain Morrison and everyone on this ship will protect us. And Rex will protect you too. Rex nodded firmly. Rex died before. Let bad ones hurt Emma, he declared. Emma save Rex spirit. Now Rex protect Emma always. Dr. Chang had been thinking about their limited options and came up with a plan that seemed impossible, but might be their only chance. What if we do not wait for Federation help? She suggested. What if we use Rex's connections to coordinate escapes from multiple facilities at the same time? How many ships would we need? Morrison asked. We cannot rescue thousands of prisoners with just Terra Nova. Maybe we not need rescue all at once, Rex said thoughtfully. Maybe Rex teach other prisoners how to escape themselves. Then they help rescue others. Emma's face lit up with excitement. Like a chain reaction, she said. Rex helps some prisoners escape, then they help rescue more prisoners, and those prisoners help even more. Rex looked at the little girl with admiration. Her young mind could see solutions that adults missed because she was not limited by thoughts about what was supposed to be impossible. Emma right, Rex said. But need more than just escape. Need prisoners remember how to fight together, how to be strong again. Bad ones break their spirits like they tried to break Rex's spirit. And that is where Emma's gift becomes crucial, Dr. Chang realized. Rex can reach other prisoners psychically, but Emma's emotional support is what allows healing to happen. Without that, the freed prisoners will still be broken. Captain Morrison studied the faces around the briefing table and made a decision that went against every regulation in the Federation handbook. We are going to attempt the largest jailbreak in galactic history, he announced. And we are going to do it with the help of an 8-year-old girl and a traumatized alien who learned to trust again. The plan they developed over the following days was complex and dangerous. Rex would use his enhanced psychic abilities to contact prisoners in facilities that were weakly guarded or close to Federation patrol routes. Emma would provide emotional support to strengthen these connections and help the contacted prisoners remember their courage. The freed prisoners would then work with local Federation forces who could be trusted to raid other facilities. Each successful rescue would provide more beings who could help with additional operations. The key was to move fast enough that the hegemony could not reorganize their defenses. But first, Rex need to teach other Kinesians how to use enhanced abilities. Rex explained. Bad ones give many prisoners same treatments they give Rex. Most not know they have new powers because spirits too broken to try. Emma raised her hand like she was in school. Can I help teach them too? She asked. Maybe if they feel the same kind of friendship that helped Rex, they will get better faster. Rex and Dr. Chang exchanged looks. Having Emma directly involved in psychic contact with traumatized aliens could be extremely dangerous, but they also knew that her presence was the key element that made healing possible. Emma would need to stay safely on Terra Nova, Morrison decided. But if Rex can share her emotional support through the psychic network, it might work. They spent the next week testing this theory with the other rescued aliens in their medical bay. Emma would sit with Rex while he made psychic contact with traumatized beings from different species. Through Rex's enhanced abilities, Emma's compassion and kindness could be felt by creatures who had given up hope years ago. A reptilian warrior, from Dracos Prime who had not spoken since his capture, suddenly began crying tears of relief when he felt Emma's friendship through Rex's psychic link. A telepathic healer who had been catatonic for 2 years opened her eyes and smiled for the first time since her imprisonment. It works, Dr. Chang reported with amazement. Emma's emotional state can be transmitted through Rex's psychic network to other beings. We have a way to heal the psychological damage on a massive scale. The night before they were scheduled to begin their rescue operations, Emma sat with Rex in the medical bay and drew pictures of all the beings they were going to help. Rex watched her color and felt grateful beyond words for the friendship that had saved his soul. Emma not afraid? Rex asked. A little bit, Emma admitted. But being afraid is okay if you are doing something important. Mommy told me that, Brave. People are not people who are not scared. Brave people are people who do the right thing even when they are scared. Rex looked at this remarkable child who somehow understood wisdom that many adults never learned. The hegemony had tried to break his spirit and turn him into a weapon of hate. Instead, they had accidentally created something far more powerful. They had created a bridge between species, built from love and maintained by the innocent faith of a little girl who believed that everyone deserved a friend. The first rescue attempt began at exactly midnight ship time, when Rex reached out psychically to a facility orbiting the planet Kepler 438c. Emma sat beside him with her hand resting on his paw, her young mind focused on sending feelings of hope and friendship through their connection. Rex feel Luna, he said quietly. She very weak but still alive. Rex tried to wake her fighting spirit. Captain Jake Morrison watched the monitors that showed Rex's brain activity, while Dr. Lisa Chang tracked the psychic energy patterns that seemed to flow between Rex and Emma. What they were attempting had never been tried before, and the risks were enormous. In the distant facility, Luna had been curled in her cage for so long that her muscles had weakened from lack of use. The hegemony researchers had declared her a failed experiment because she would not respond to any of their conditioning attempts. They were planning to dispose of her within days. When Rex's psychic call reached her, strengthened by Emma's pure emotional support, Luna felt something impossible. She felt love. Not the desperate attachment that the researchers tried to create through chemical manipulation, but the genuine warmth of friendship offered freely. Emma here with Rex, came the voice in Luna's mind. Emma is small human child who help Rex remember pack bond. Emma want to help all Kinesians remember. Luna lifted her head for the first time in months. Through the psychic link, she could feel Emma's innocent compassion and Rex's regained strength. More importantly, She could feel that she was not alone anymore. Rex showed Luna how to use enhanced abilities, Rex continued. Bad ones give Luna same treatments they give Rex. Luna can break cage locks with new strength. Luna can reach other prisoners with new mind powers. On Terra Nova, Emma concentrated on sending Luna pictures in her mind. She imagined Luna running, free under open sky, playing with other Kinesians and feeling happy again. These images traveled through Rex's psychic network and gave Luna something she had lost years ago. Hope. Luna stood up in her cage for the first time since her last attempt. The neural enhancements that the hegemony had forced on her suddenly activated as her will to live returned. She could feel strength in her muscles that had not been there before, and her mind felt sharper and more focused. Following Rex's psychic instructions, Luna grabbed the bars of her cage and pulled. The metal bent and twisted as her enhanced strength proved far greater than her captors had realized. Within minutes, she was free and moving through the facility's corridors. Luna free, Rex reported to the Terra Nova crew. Now Luna helped free others. The pattern repeated throughout the night as Rex and Emma worked together to contact prisoners in 12 different facilities. Each successful awakening created another ally who could reach other captives. The psychic network grew stronger with each new connection. A reptilian warrior named Scar broke out of his holding cell and discovered that his enhanced reflexes made him nearly impossible to stop. A telepathic healer called Whisper found that her boosted mental abilities allowed her to shut down security systems with her thoughts. But the most important discovery was that Emma's emotional support could be passed from prisoner to prisoner through the psychic network. Beings who had been broken and hopeless for years suddenly remembered what it felt like to have friends who cared about them. It's spreading faster than Rex expected, Rex told Captain Morrison, with excitement in his voice. Freed prisoners teaching other freed prisoners. They all feel Emma kindness and remember how to be strong. By dawn, over 300 beings had escaped from various hegemony facilities. More importantly, these escapees were working together to free others instead of simply running away. The psychological healing that Emma's friendship provided was creating natural leaders who inspired hope in other victims. But their success also created a dangerous problem. The hegemony leaders quickly realized that their facilities were being attacked in a coordinated pattern. They began moving their most valuable prisoners to more secure locations and increasing security at all remaining sites. They know something is happening, Dr. Chang observed as she monitored communications between hegemony agents. They are discussing the possibility that one of their enhanced subjects has escaped and is organizing resistance. Emma looked worried as she listened to the adults discuss these developments. Are we putting Rex in danger by helping? She asked. Rex placed his large paw gently on Emma's shoulder. Emma, Rex already in danger from bad ones, he said. But now Rex not alone. Rex have Emma and new pack that grows stronger every day. Danger worth it to help others. Captain Morrison made the decision to accelerate their timeline. If the hegemony is moving prisoners, we need to act faster. How many more facilities can you reach tonight? Rex can reach maybe 20 more, Rex replied. But need Emma help for all of them. Emma getting tired from so much psychic sharing. It was true that the constant psychic activity was draining for Emma. She was only 8 years old, and the emotional energy required to heal traumatized beings across the galaxy was enormous. But she refused to stop when so many creatures needed help. I can do it, Emma insisted. Those people have been hurt for so long. I cannot stop helping them now. Dr. Chang checked Emma's vital signs and found them stable, but showing signs of fatigue. We need to be careful not to exhaust her, she warned. If Emma collapses, the entire psychic network could fail. They decided to try a different approach. Instead of Emma directly participating in every contact, Rex would teach the newly freed prisoners how to provide emotional support to others. This would distribute the healing energy across the growing network instead of depending entirely on one little girl. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. Former prisoners who had rediscovered their own capacity for friendship began reaching out to help others heal. The psychic network evolved from a rescue operation into a galaxy-spanning support system. A Kinesian named Storm, who had been freed from a prison planet, used his own enhanced abilities to contact 20 more facilities. A reptilian female called Flame organized escaped prisoners into rescue teams that could assault hegemony installations directly. It working better than Rex hoped, Rex reported with amazement. Freed prisoners not just escaping, they becoming teachers, leaders, fighters. They remember what it mean to care about others. Emma smiled tiredly, but with great satisfaction. They are remembering how to be a family, she said. Like we are a family on Terra Nova. By the end of the second day, over 2,000 beings had been freed from hegemony facilities. The escaped prisoners had formed organized groups that were conducting their own rescue missions, while staying connected through the psychic network that Rex and Emma had created. But their success had also triggered a response from hegemony forces. Warships were moving towards systems where facilities had been attacked. The conspiracy that had operated in secret for decades was preparing to reveal itself and fight openly to protect their remaining assets. They are bringing military ships out of hiding, Morrison observed as he studied the sensor readings. This is about to become a real war. Rex looked at Emma, who was resting in her father's arms but still maintaining her connection to the psychic network. This brave little girl had already done more to fight evil than most adults ever would. But the hardest part of their mission was just beginning. The hegemony was no longer hiding, which meant they would use all their power to stop the growing rebellion. And that power included infiltration of Federation forces, advanced weapons, and thousands of ships that had been secretly built over decades of preparation. The galaxy was about to learn that sometimes the greatest battles are won, not by the strongest weapons, but by the courage to care about others even when it puts you in danger. Emma and Rex had started something that could not be stopped because it was built on the most powerful force in the universe: love. The hegemony's response came faster and more brutally than anyone expected. Within hours of their facilities being attacked, massive warships appeared in systems across the galaxy. These vessels had been hidden for decades, disguised as cargo, haulers, and mining platforms, but now they revealed their true nature as instruments of conquest. Captain Jake Morrison watched the tactical displays with growing alarm as reports flooded in from Federation colonies. They have over 3,000 ships, he announced to his crew, and many of them are already in position around major population centers. Rex sat with Emma in the medical bay, both of them maintaining the psychic network that now connected nearly 5,000 freed prisoners across dozens of worlds. The constant mental effort was exhausting, but they could feel that their allies were organized and fighting back wherever possible. Rex feel many battles starting, Rex reported through the ship's communication system. Freed prisoners fighting, alongside Federation forces in some places. But hegemony have agents inside Federation fleets too. Not always easy to know who is friend. The situation became even more complicated when hegemony forces transmitted a galaxy-wide message announcing their existence and demands. Admiral Kane, the hegemony's supreme leader, appeared on every communication channel simultaneously. People of the galaxy, Kane began in a cold voice. For too long, inferior species have been allowed to pollute our great Federation with their weakness and primitive thinking. The time has come for natural evolution to take its course. Emma watched the transmission with wide eyes as the alien admiral continued his speech. Kane looked like a human, but his eyes were completely black and showed no emotion at all. The hegemony offers one chance for peaceful transition, Kane announced. All non-essential species will submit to relocation and productive labor assignments. Those who resist will be eliminated for the greater good of galactic civilization. Captain Morrison felt sick as he realized the true scope of what they were facing. This was not just a conspiracy or even a revolution. This was attempted genocide on a galactic scale, planned and organized for decades. How long do we have? Dr. Lisa Chang asked as she studied the deployment patterns of hegemony ships. They are giving colonies 72 hours to surrender, Morrison replied. After that, they start bombing population centers. Rex suddenly stiffened and his eyes went wide with alarm. Through the psychic network, he was receiving urgent messages from freed prisoners across the galaxy. Hegemony not just attacking colonies, he announced. They moving all remaining prisoners to one place, big facility near Galaxy Center. They going to kill all prisoners if rebellion not stop. Emma gasped and grabbed Rex's paw. How many prisoners? She asked. Rex count at least 50,000 beings, came the devastating answer. All species, all from different worlds. If hegemony kill them, Rex feel every death through psychic network. Will break Rex mind forever. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. The hegemony was using their remaining prisoners as hostages to force the rebellion to surrender. But they all knew that Kane had no intention of keeping any promises. Once the rebellion stopped, all the prisoners would be killed anyway. We have to try to rescue them, Emma said with determination that surprised the adults. We cannot let all those people die. Emma, that facility will be the most heavily defended target in the galaxy, her father Carlos tried to explain. It would be suicide to attack it directly. But Rex was already thinking along the same lines as Emma. Maybe not attack facility, he said thoughtfully. Maybe go to facility. Rex and Emma surrender to hegemony, get taken to main prison, then free all prisoners from inside. Absolutely not, Morrison declared immediately. I will not allow a child to be used as bait in a suicide mission. Emma stood up with the same brave expression she had worn when she first decided to help Rex. Captain Morrison, those people need our help. Rex cannot do this alone because he needs my friendship to make the psychic healing work. And I cannot do it alone because I am just a little girl. But together, Rex added, Rex and Emma can free everyone, can teach all prisoners to use enhanced abilities, can turn prison into army of 50,000 fighters right in middle of hegemony space. Dr. Chang ran calculations on her tablet computer. The psychic shockwave from that many enhanced beings activating their abilities simultaneously would be enormous, she realized. It could disrupt hegemony communications and weapon systems across multiple star systems. Captain Morrison wanted to refuse, but he also understood that conventional attacks on the central facility would fail. The hegemony had had decades to prepare their defenses. Only an attack from within had any chance of success. There has to be another way, he insisted. I cannot send a child into that kind of danger. Emma walked over to the captain and took his hand. Captain Morrison, my mommy died trying to help other people in an accident at her workstation. Daddy told me that she was a hero because she saved 12 other people even though it cost her life. Morrison looked down at this remarkable little girl and felt his heart breaking. Emma, you are asking me to let you risk the same fate. No, sir, Emma replied with wisdom far beyond her years. I am asking you to let me try to save 50,000 people. Rex will protect me, and all the freed prisoners will help us. We will not be alone. Rex nodded firmly. Rex promised to bring Emma home safe, he said. But if we not try, all prisoners die anyway. And hegemony win galaxy. The debate continued for hours as they discussed every possible alternative. But eventually, everyone had to admit that Emma and Rex were right. A direct assault would fail, and time was running out for the hostages. If we do this, Morrison finally said, it has to be done perfectly. We get you inside, you free the prisoners, and then we extract you immediately. How do we make sure they take us to the right facility? Emma asked. Rex smiled for the first time in days. Easy, he said. Rex, tell hegemony exactly who he is. Rex is most valuable prisoner they ever had. Enhanced Kinesian who can use psychic abilities and speak human languages. They want Rex back very badly. Dr. Chang worked out the technical details of their surrender. They would disable Terra Nova's weapons and transmit a message offering to trade Rex and the ship for safe passage for the other rescued aliens. The hegemony would certainly accept because recapturing Rex was worth more to them than destroying one Federation vessel. The night before their mission, Emma sat with Rex in her quarters, drawing pictures of what she hoped they would accomplish. She drew images of all the prisoners running free under open skies, reunited with their families. Emma scared? Rex asked gently. Yes, Emma admitted. But I am also excited. We are going to help so many people remember what it feels like to have friends who care about them. Rex looked at this brave child who had saved his soul and taught him to love again. Tomorrow they would face the greatest danger either of them had ever known. But they would face it together, and that made them stronger than any weapon the hegemony possessed. The hegemony had spent decades breaking the spirits of thousands of beings from across the galaxy, but they had never encountered anything like the bond between a traumatized alien who learned to trust again and a little girl who believed that everyone deserved a friend. Tomorrow, 50,000 prisoners would discover that love is indeed the most powerful force in the universe. The hegemony's central prison facility was larger than any space station Emma had ever seen. Built into an asteroid near the galaxy's center, it contained thousands of levels stretching deep into the rock. As their shuttle approached the docking bay, Emma squeezed Rex's paw and tried to stay brave. "Remember the plan," Captain Morrison whispered through their hidden communication device. "Free as many prisoners as possible, then signal us for extraction. Terra Nova will be waiting at the edge of the system." Rex nodded while keeping his expression neutral. The hegemony guards thought they were bringing back a defeated enemy, but they had no idea what Emma and Rex could accomplish when they worked together. Admiral Kane himself met them at the airlock, flanked by dozens of heavily armed guards. His black eyes studied Rex with satisfaction while barely glancing at Emma. "The escaped experiment returns," Kane said with a cold smile. "You have caused us considerable trouble, but that ends now. You will be returned to your conditioning protocols immediately." "Rex not afraid of you anymore," Rex replied calmly. "Rex have friend now. Rex not alone." Kane laughed as if this was amusing. "That pathetic human child," he said. "She will be disposed of once we no longer need her cooperation. Emotional attachments are weakness that must be eliminated." Emma looked up at the evil admiral and felt sorry for him instead of afraid. "You are wrong," she said quietly. "Friends make you stronger, not weaker. That is why you are going to lose." The guards escorted them through corridors filled with thousands of prison cells. Emma's heart broke as she saw beings from dozens of different worlds all looking hopeless and broken, but she also felt excitement because she knew that was about to change. They were taken to a special containment area where the most dangerous prisoners were kept. Rex was placed in a cell designed specifically for enhanced Kinesians, while Emma was put in an adjacent cell so Kane could use her as leverage against Rex. "The conditioning will begin again tomorrow," Kane informed Rex. "But first, you will watch us demonstrate what happens to those who inspire resistance." Emma and Rex exchanged a quick look. They both knew it was time to begin their real mission. As soon as Kane and the guards left the area, Rex reached out with his psychic abilities to contact the other prisoners. "Rex here with Emma," he broadcast to every enhanced being in the facility. "Time to remember who you really are. Time to remember that you are not alone." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Thousands of beings who had given up hope suddenly felt the warmth of friendship flowing through Rex's psychic network. Emma concentrated on sending feelings of love and courage to every prisoner, just as she had done for Rex months ago. In cell after cell, beings who had been broken by years of torture began to remember their strength. A reptilian warrior named Torch felt his fighting spirit return. A telepathic healer called Star remembered how to hope again. An insectoid engineer named Click discovered that his enhanced abilities could override the prison's security systems. "Emma, kindness spreading to everyone," Rex reported with joy. "All prisoners feeling pack bond now. All prisoners remember they have family." The first sign of trouble for the hegemony came when the security systems began failing throughout the AI facility. Click and other enhanced beings were using their abilities to unlock doors and disable weapons. But more importantly, the prisoners were working together instead of fighting each other. Admiral Kane received the first alarm reports just as he was preparing to sleep. "What do you mean the containment fields are failing?" he demanded of his security chief. "Sir, we are seeing coordinated breakouts on every level," came the panicked reply. "The prisoners are somehow communicating with each other and acting as an organized force." Kane realized immediately what was happening. "The enhanced Kinesian," he said with fury. "He is using psychic abilities to coordinate resistance. Kill him immediately." But when the guards reached Rex's cell, they found it empty. Emma and Rex were already moving through the facility, freeing prisoners and teaching them how to use their enhanced abilities. Each freed being became a teacher who could help others remember their strength. Emma was amazed at how quickly the liberation spread. Beings who had been enemies before their capture were now working together as friends. The hegemony's greatest mistake had been giving their prisoners enhanced abilities without realizing that friendship could overcome any conditioning. "Rex, there are so many of them," Emma said with wonder as they watched thousands of prisoners streaming through the corridors. "Look how happy they are to be free." Rex felt tears in his eyes as he saw beings from his own species running together as a pack for the first time in years. "Emma gift spread to all," he said. "All prisoners remember what love feels like." The psychic shockwave from 50,000 enhanced beings activating their abilities simultaneously was felt across multiple star systems. Hegemony ships found their communication and weapon systems disrupted by the massive telepathic energy release. Admiral Kane tried desperately to maintain control, but his own guards were beginning to question orders as the wave of compassion reached even them. The hegemony's power had been built on fear and isolation, but Emma's friendship had created something stronger. Federation fleets that had been outgunned and outnumbered suddenly found themselves supported by thousands of freed prisoners who had stolen hegemony ships. The beings that Kane had planned to use as weapons against the galaxy had become its defenders instead. Captain Morrison received Rex's extraction signal just as the prison facility's defenses collapsed completely. Terra Nova arrived to find Emma and Rex leading an evacuation of the entire station. Beings who had been enemies were now helping each other reach safety. "Emma, Rex, are you both safe?" Morrison called over the communication system. "We are fine, Captain," Emma replied with a huge smile, "and we have made a lot of new friends." The trial of Admiral Kane and the hegemony leadership became the largest legal proceeding in galactic history. Rex, now serving as an ambassador for all the freed prisoners, testified about the torture and conditioning that had been used against them. But the most powerful testimony came from Emma, who explained how friendship and kindness could heal even the deepest psychological wounds. Her words were broadcast across the galaxy and inspired new laws protecting all sentient beings. The Galactic Federation was rebuilt with humans taking leadership roles in the new peacekeeping forces. Their unique ability to form emotional connections with traumatized beings made them invaluable in helping the galaxy heal from the hegemony's crimes. Rex established the first interspecies rehabilitation center on Earth, where human children worked alongside alien counselors to help beings recover from psychological trauma. The program became known as the Shelter Protocol and was implemented throughout Federation space. Years later, Admiral Rex stood on the observation deck of the Federation flagship and watched Emma graduate from the Interspecies Academy with the highest honors ever awarded. She had grown into a remarkable young woman who dedicated her life to helping others heal from trauma. "Emma still best friend," Rex said as he watched her accept her diploma. "Emma save Rex spirit and teach Galaxy what love can do." Emma looked up at her old friend and smiled. The little girl who had once read stories to a frightened alien in a medical bay had become a leader who helped shape a new era of galactic peace and understanding. Their friendship had started when a traumatized prisoner met a compassionate child who believed that everyone deserved a friend. It had grown into a movement that liberated thousands of beings and proved that the smallest acts of kindness can reshape the entire universe. The shelter dog's reaction to the little girl had indeed left the galaxy in tears, but they were tears of joy and hope for a future where love would always triumph over hatred.